Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Bonkekook here, aka the Lonely Achievement God, and I'm coming at you with another part to our Luigi's Mansion 3 playthrough. I believe this is part 5, and I have to apologize before we go any further. So I was recording using my 4K capture utility for the Elgato, and normally, if there is a problem with the recording, it won't let me start. But everything appeared functional. My source and destination file was listed in the top right. When I clicked record, it let me record, so I went ahead and started recording a 30-minute part. And unfortunately, when I went to check where it was, my external hard drive just said, what file? What are you talking about? There's nothing there. So we lost probably the most important chapter of our journey so far, as we rescued one of the toads from a pianist. So what I do to start this video is I run back and show you exactly what I did. It takes about 5 minutes or so, 5 to 10, somewhere in there, to run back to the places that I was and just kind of go over quickly what I did in the video. Unfortunately, there's no way for me to go back. I'd have to start a whole nother playthrough and get to this point, and that'd just be another 3 hours of wasted time, in all honesty. So we're gonna have to start off the video here with backtracking, and I'll try to explain very quickly what I did. And then we'll move on and head to the floor that I unlocked at the end of the last video. So I'm sorry for, again, I apologize for this happening. There's nothing I can do about it. Normally it warns me if it can't record or won't have a destination file to record to, and it didn't let me know any of those things, and it went into the void. So I'll go ahead and start the footage here, and we will continue our journey. So what I did is we unlocked floor number 6, and so I headed up there to save the game because EGAD didn't bring us back to the lab, so I headed down then to the basement because we actually started, we started in the lab because he had just upgraded our poltergeist with I can't remember what it was, but he gave us the shop and allowed us to purchase those golden bones you see next to their hearts. And when I left, there was a little tutorial about there are now boos running around the mansion and you can find them. And so there's one to the left in the laundry room once you exit out of the garage. So we headed over that direction, and I was still trying to figure out exactly what that meant. If it was Boo was in the hallway, if it was in this room. He's right in this cabinet over there. So if you are running through the game yourself, you just open the cabinet, he pops out. I'm going to pause the footage to explain. He pops out, and they are impervious to your flashlight. You have to find other methods to take care of them. They go invisible, so you need to use your dark light on top of them, and that will expose them. And then you can suck them with the poltergeist. The boo I fought, I can't remember the pun anymore. Boo-musement, I think it was. Don't quote me on that, but I think that was what it was. He had 20 hit points, but one suction move and full-on attack from it was taking 10 hit points off. So it only took 2 tries to take care of him. So once that was done, we got a little congratulations, I believe, from the professor, and we moved back on. Real quick, I'm going to show you something I did earlier on that I forgot to recap in the earlier footage that we lost. I covered most of what we did, but there was one gem that I realized later on that I had not shown you, and it was right in front of the elevator on the first floor here. There's this tree with a gem around it, and you can use the suction attack to break the tree and get your gem, in case you were trying to follow along to get your 1,000. Man, I've been doing too many achievement videos. If you've been following along through the game to get all your gems, then I do apologize. Number one, that footage is being lost. That's terrible. I need to hopefully upgrade some of my things, especially when I move, and we'll have better luck. But that was all that we did, and we head back up to the new floor that we unlocked real quick. Again, I'm going to pause the footage because I just kind of run through here. There's not much to do in that opening area. You get a jump scare or two. You run past the concession stand here, but again, there's nothing to do with that. Down the hallway here is a carpet, and there is a ghost that is flapping the carpet. You know, like if you've ever spread sheets out and done the wind tunnel type thing, and it spreads along the sheet. That's what the ghost is doing. So you have to use your I called it the fart when we started, but the trigger blast to propel Luigi up in the air long enough for it to pass you by and continue down the hall. There is also a painting of coins right next to us here. Excuse me. I'm going to take a drink of water here. I apologize for that. There was coins in a painting that you could use the dark light to get out once you take care of the ghost at the end. As you can see, I pointed out, the ghost is a very simple one, just the regular blue ones we fought so far. And then there's a popcorn machine with the light sensor that you can pound on over and over again, and eventually I believe you get a gem out of it, and some golden mice pop up over in that corner as well. So back around the corner, there's not a lot on this floor actually. It was, I guess, if I had to lose a floor, this was a pretty decent one to lose. To the left here is a bathroom. There's not a lot that happened in here. The left toilet, or right toilet, is clogged, and the left toilet has like tuba or something inside of it, so you just blow air at the tuba for a little bit, and it explodes the pipes, causing coins to jump out of that right one. Of course, nothing happens now because I already got him. And that was all I noticed in that room. I'm sure there's something else there, but for now there wasn't. And on the right is another restroom. This one has a little more things. If you look in the mirror, a few more things, excuse me. If you look in the mirror, you can see a painting that had some coins in it. We already used the dark light on it and got our coins. There was a cover over that vent to the right that Luigi can go into and drop some coins. And then you need to use Luigi to go through the baby gate there, the gate there. And there's a old style toilet with the pole handle. Well, not handle, the pole wire. I don't know exactly what it's called, but you need to suck that up, and that will open up the boo on our right. Opening up the boo allows Luigi to walk up and stick his hand or whatever inside, and then it's a secret passage, and it seems very weird that it leads to the concession stand, and that there doesn't appear to be another way inside. You have to walk through the bathroom to get to the concessions. Anyways, that's really weird, but there were a few nicks and knacks around the room, but nothing super important. The only thing you need to do is there is a safe to the left there. It has 8 or 9 buttons. I can't quite see in the preview video, but there are notes above the bottles in the middle, and basically you just need to play the bottles one at a time from left to right. You can see me do that here. I just kind of run left to right, and eventually the decoration above explodes, and the safe is like, awesome, you did it, and a jewel or gem pops out. And that was really all that happened in that room. I think there might have been a ghost or 3 or something in there as well. This little red dude was not here before. He surprised me, and I was not looking at the screen at the moment, when that happened. So he's not there. These ghosts aren't usually there. It just happened to pop in on me for some reason. And then this was the auditorium where the big boss was that was hiding Toad in the painting up there. Initially, there are chairs lining the floor here, and they all jump up and attack you. And once those are all gone, he goes into a regular boss phase where he's inside of the piano to keep him safe, and he tries to basically butt drop or floor slam with the piano to attack you. He'll do a couple of other things like throwing some keys at you and stuff like that. The keys, you can just use the left trigger to blow air at him, and that forces the keys to miss you because they just go out at a straight line. So you can blow them off path so that they miss you. And then he jumps on stage, throws some bombs out. Be careful, one or two of them are always set to explode right away. But you need to suck them up and throw them back inside the open piano. It will blow it up, and then you can use the suction shot to destroy him. So, you do that a couple of times, you know, rule of threes for, I think Nintendo has stuck to that rule entirely, but you do it 3 times, the piano blows up, you know, obviously it gets harder to do the next 2 phases, and then once he is free of the piano, he's relatively simple, just run away from him, and then blast him with your flashlight. He has no protective thing after the piano goes away, so it's a relatively quick fight after that, and you unlock Toad, and send him back to the professor down in the lab, which is really, 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 really weird to me. Literally, Toad was captured in a couple of seconds. And instead of walking him all the way down to the basement, Luigi just funnels him into the elevator and sends him to the ground floor. I mean, he could be intercepted. He may not have even made it down to the professor. We'll just never know. I suppose if he went down to the lab, he might be down there. But that was the other thing that we were told that there's a shortcut to get to the lab and back to whatever floor you were on, I believe, by going to your menu. And that was on that floor. And then when you defeat the boss, Egad is like, well, just return to the lab or go to the elevator. And so I thought, well, why can't I just use the fast travel thing to bring Toad to the lab? And I guess that makes too much sense, and so I didn't try it. I should have tried it to see what it did, because it really makes no sense for me to just shove him into the elevator and send him on his way. He could very easily have been captured again on his way down. But video game logic, I'm sure he's safe. And we return to, unfortunately, my least favorite floor of the game so far. We got 30 minutes of new footage coming here, so I will be very frank. I did not like this floor. I'm sorry, I need to take another drink of water. I apologize. Sorry if you heard any of that. We get a medieval floor, and this makes no sense to me. So, I can understand most of what we've done so far existing in a fancy hotel. Auditorium's a bit of a stretch, but I can see it. If you, I've been in a hotel that had an auditorium, so I'm not, you know, too upset about that one. I've been in hotels that have shops, they have, you know, that kind of stuff is not that big of a deal. I have never been in a hotel that had an entire medieval dungeon with a jousting arena. And it kind of loses me here. As I said before in the other parts, I appreciate the idea of exploring a mansion and just the uniqueness of a mansion and the different rooms of that you can explore and all that. And while I understand the dilemma of writing yourself into a hotel and then trying to find something other than 16 floors of identical rooms, the medieval room doesn't make any sense to me. And it was by far the least fun to go through so far. Not a lot happens in this first room. We kind of go back to exploring, but I'm going to be honest, I kind of give up exploring on this path because I was so frustrated in not having fun with it. That sounds very harsh, and it probably is, but I'm disappointed. And especially for this to be the level after the level I lost all my footage, it was just compounding frustration. So, I was a little bit distracted going through this run because of the lost footage debacle, and it shows I make some mistakes, I do some stupid things, it takes me a little bit longer to solve some of the puzzles than it really should. There we go. Finally got Luigi over to that dangly bit and opened that up. I also don't like the camera here. I feel like there are things hidden, and pulling the camera out, even though I understand the need for it, did not make it any easier to view things. So, but I come in here and I'm like, oh, there's very shiny suits of armor. Clearly I have to do something with them, and I don't figure out what to do with them through the entire thing. I later on get one that or you can shoot a helmet at them, but I didn't see a helmet there to destroy them. And then we walk out here, and the other thing that bothers me happens with these games is instead of immediately doing a cutscene that shows what's going on, the game expects me to walk out onto that balcony there to trigger a cutscene. And I just assumed that was there for decoration. See, I'm trying to blast through the door here with my watermelons, and then I realize that they're respawning, and so I can't clear everything out, and that's already a frustration for a completionist. And so I didn't really know if that would continue throughout the rest of this. I'm like, okay, let's move on. Oh, wait, that door's locked. What am I supposed to do? This is ridiculous. Walk down. Oh, there we go. Hey, would have been a nice indicator that I was supposed to do that, but we got crazy. Excuse me. I'm actually not starting to feel a little under the weather here. Crazy little king kind of looks like one of the dwarves from The Hobbit. Just lost a lot of weight. Managed to destroy Smog and take the pile of gold for himself, and he died, and now he jousts for a living? Okay, doesn't make complete sense. But I head into this room, and again, I'm already kind of frustrated by this area, because none of this feels hotel-y to me. Now, you can make the argument, it's just a game, what does it matter? Artistic cohesion is kind of important. If the framework for the game is a hotel, like I said, I do understand the restriction that putting your game in a hotel makes. But this doesn't fit in a hotel to me. I'm sure debates could be had about that. I'm hoping, as I said though, Luigi's Mansion 2 did stuff like this. Dark Moon, I think it was called. Where it had you go to different locations that weren't mansions, or that weren't cohesive with what you had been doing so far, and it just felt weird to me. And I was really hoping that we'd kind of stick to the hotel theme. You know, hotels have pools. Is there going to be a pool level? A suite level? Like a honeymoon suite? Like, there are multiple different ideas you could have had to kind of expand on the floors, so I don't quite understand this one. We got a ghost that shows up here with a shield. Just like every other enemy, it takes me a second to realize what I'm supposed to do. I figure maybe I can suck it off of him. But then realize, nope, I need to use the suction cup. And he runs away like a coward. But we do track him down. But there are also some ghosts hidden in these barrels, and I'm gonna be honest again, I was pretty distracted throughout this playthrough. I was kind of worried that this run wasn't going to get recorded either, and then I was going to have to seriously consider restarting my playthrough to get back to this point. Because if I lost 2 straight videos, I mean, that's already probably like 15% of the game that you wouldn't see. And then it's not really a playthrough, is it? So, we got these ghosts that are hiding in the barrels, and I'll be honest, I again was kind of just out of it. I was waiting for him to pop up. I apologize. Man, something just hit me. But, I was very, very distracted and forgot. Was hoping that I could catch him without having to go through the process of destroying the barrel, but apparently the game very much knows what you're doing, and I'm having so many controller issues too. I honestly am not sure what is going on. It is very frustrating. I almost think I need to figure out if I can turn off the motion controls, because I think that's what's doing it. And the motion controls have only been useful when I've, like, sucked off the drapes, or the curtains, and the money spawns up at the top of the room. You can instantly look up using the motion controls. For just about everything else, the motion controls have been useless for me. And this is an embarrassing gamer moment. I did not realize that those were kegs. I walked up and just... it didn't even occur to me that I could do anything with them. So, at this point, I am a very confused gamer. And while recording this, I am a very embarrassed gamer for not figuring this out. But I tried everything else, and instead of trying the plunger shot, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. Instead of trying the plunger shot, I decide to run over and try to figure out where I missed the key. The problem is that this map overlays on itself as well, so I was seeing that there's a room underneath this on the map, but I was like, well, do I have to make the Luigi go fall down in there somehow? I don't even know if I can make those spikes go away. Like, what am I supposed to do? Is there a path down below there I can jump off? Like, you know, going through all these different scenarios because dumb me is still distracted by the video footage. And, head back to the front room, and I do discover a secret, and I'm thinking, hey, there it is. I figured it out, and it wasn't the secret I was looking for. Got a couple suits of armor here. Again, can't do anything with them. But I don't know that at this point, and I'm trying, because there's only 3 rooms here, and one of them has to have a key. It's like that wall looks suspicious. What do we got? And it does have a secret in it. However, it just gets us a gem. I picked up a helmet and I didn't realize it. So I was like, why is it auto-firing the plunger? And then I turned around and saw that I had a helmet. That's probably one of my biggest complaints about the game so far, is that the perspective makes some of the rooms very difficult, but they went to try to make the game more elaborate, so the perspective gets sacrificed in those back rooms and stuff like that, when you can't really see what's happening until you move yourself to the front of the room. So I mean, it's a small complaint. It happens every once in a while. It's not a every room occurrence, but it is very frustrating in the rooms that it does happen. The freezer in the chef's kitchen was one of them. Dr. Robotnik chef. That was another one where the perspective made it difficult. Excuse me. Where the perspective made it difficult to see what was going on. And again, I have no idea at this point. I've explored all 3 rooms. Didn't find anything. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I, again, know that I can see a room, darkened room, underneath this one. And so my gamer instincts are telling me I should be able to get to that room then. Maybe that's where the key is. Because in this case, the game didn't tell me where the key was on the map. And then I figured out the suction thing. Stupid me, didn't figure it out right away. And then we find a key. Weird. Weird how that works. So yes, even gamers TM such as myself make mistakes. It happens. We find some mice, get some coins, we got our key, we're gonna move on, and I have no clue how they fit all of this in a hotel. Again, relatively every other floor we've been to, you can see fitting on a floor of a hotel. Not this. Like, if you would have told me this was basement 2, and that this was all built underground, then maybe I could have seen this. But this is supposed to be the 6th floor of the hotel. Like, is this, oh, what was it? This is going to be a reference probably none of you will get, but wasn't it like floor 19 in Wayside Story or something like that? Didn't exist. You just went from floor 18 to floor 20. I don't know if any of you remember those books or not. But maybe that's what, maybe floor 6 technically doesn't exist. And we stumbled upon it. There was one, I don't know how many stories they did of that Wayside Story, or Wayside School, whatever. I think that's what it was called. Maybe they did more, and I'm pretty sure they did one story where one of the students got trapped in the 19th floor. Or whatever floor it was. I want to say it was 19, but I honestly could be wrong. It's been a long time. We've managed to get below here. We got some spider webs. And there's a dead dragon costume that still lights up, luckily, so we can light our torch here. And then burn up the spider webs. I'm not entirely sure if that's possible. It's a video game thing I've never thought about. If you can actually burn up spider webs like that. So we get all the way over here, and me, silly me, thinking I needed to use Luigi, went all the way through here, and I actually unlock a stair or a ladder, and then realized that doesn't do me any good. I thought I was going to get rid of the spikes, so now I need to switch to Luigi and run all the way over there, and I get stuck because I moved Luigi in the only pathway. Because I'm a dummy sometimes. And instead of just deleting him, I try to move the torch like a dummy. And still can't get through. This is not my finest gaming moment. Not to make excuses, but again, I was pretty upset by the lack of the last part recording. So, not in my best mind for solving puzzles. And it didn't help that I was getting kind of frustrated by the design of this level. This was a great level, just don't tell me it's on singular floor of a hotel. That's all. But we figured out we need to use Luigi. Managed to get in there. I think there's more secrets we could have figured out on this floor if we had messed around a little bit more, but at this point I was really just trying to get to the end of the footage. for two reasons. One, I didn't know if this was going to record or not, and two, I was, you know, indifferent on the level. So, but I did immediately figure out that that is a doorway. I just didn't use the right tool on it immediately, because I thought the other doorway was open, but it turns out it is locked. I think the mice spawn infinitely, or a lot of them kept showing up. So try to go through that door and can't, and then the gamer's instincts I have, like, well, that's right, I can use that dark light thing. I promise eventually I figure it out. I wasn't entirely sure if that was a dark light secret passage or something I could destroy. There are some of those items, like I believe there's one on floor 5 that's too big for me to suction throw, so I was wondering if maybe that wall might be throwable if I level that up. I'm not entirely sure if that gets leveled up later on or not, but those are all the thoughts that go through my head when I'm playing these games. So of course I see the crossbows, but I'm not entirely sure when they go off. But I saw this path over here, so I run over, get the coins that are down there. Of course, Luigi can't run down there because of the water, but I test to see what happens when I walk out, and there is no warning. Like, that's Dark Souls-ish right there. Like, he had a pretty good idea that something was going to happen, but there was no warning that anything was going to happen. I did a ran with Luigi into the water, but when I did that, I realized there was a ball up on top of that, so I grab it. Eventually, I think those motion controls are really screwing with me. And we destroy that side, and then I realized there was one on the left that I didn't see off the bat. Right off the bat. There we go. Eventually we'll get it. And we collapse the structure so that Luigi can safely make it to the other side. There's really not much more to this room. There might be a gem somewhere. I'm sure there is, but... Or maybe a booze shows up here later. But we get our key and can continue on. And we get a very interesting puzzle in our next room. I do pat myself on the back a little bit here, because I did finish it on my first try, and I think it might have been an instant death if we didn't. So I do a little self gamer pats here. Although we get attacked here by these little red gadudes that was the mini boss from the cafe, the shops area. We're gonna take care of them real quick, and then we have a puzzle in the next room. Get the little key animation. Work our way through, and we get a giant jail cell, and a fish got thrown at us, so I thought that had something to do with it, but if it has something to do with what goes on in this room, I'm not aware. So Luigi pulls on this, and it turns out to be a dumb thing, because I need Luigi to go into the grate. So Luigi has to come pull the ball and chain mechanism there. And eventually I figure that out. But before I do, I was like, oh, maybe I can just go right through the door, and silly me didn't even notice the key back there. So we use Luigi to open things up, and then a puzzle happens. there's really nothing else. I thought there was going to be trouble, but I get the key, and some ghosts come out and mock me because it's the trash compactor on the Death Star all over again. I need to leave Luigi in there, and as Luigi, kill the ghosts, and then open that gate so that Luigi can escape. So, silly me noticed I moved Luigi away from the center, and I better move him before I try to do this because he's going to die. There we go. So as you see, I get Luigi out. First try, no problem. I'm always the best. I'm not. Don't listen to me. But we go into this room, which seems a lot more complicated. There's things on the ground. There's a lot going on in this room, and I will admit that by this point I was done with things. I just wanted to get through to the boss and end this, and I will explore it later, but I was ready to be done. And so you just need to figure out a way to get the platforms lined up, and then I go too far here. And so nobody's perfect. I eventually have to come back and make the other platform go one more, and then flip it back the other direction to make the bridge. And again, instead of having Luigi go down, if it's even possible, I don't know. I just sit here and wait for the axes and time them and run across. I'm sure there's a way to get Luigi down there, and I didn't care. We'll be back. Again, I'm hoping to do a epilogue where we go get all of the extra gems and booze and stuff like that before we return the game from whence it was rented. Wasn't sure what I needed to do in this room, but I did know that there were crossbows, and so I should be careful. And so we send Luigi to the other side, and I'm still just having some issues remembering that that dark light opens things up. I do eventually figure out that I thought there might be a switch, and that that cart on Luigi's end would move across, and then Luigi would have to stay behind it. That was my initial thought of what this room was. So I walk up to this and eventually realize I can pull and push it using my vacuum, so we do, but I did not realize that it stops in the middle. Almost gets me killed, but not quite. And then, again, can't make an excuse. I just... Like, there's these wheels here. What do I do? Oh, dark light. Forgot about that. There's so many different mechanics to solve things that, I keep forgetting one of them, and it's usually the one you need to solve the room. So, then we do the same thing with Luigi. Push these, carts together. And as we are, I try to blow it back, and it doesn't let me, because I was worried about that statue at the end. But we get a ton of little tiny ghosts to come in, but they're kind of focusing on Luigi, which is good, but they're also attacking Luigi and continuing their attack over to me, and apparently the light, in some cases, the light doesn't stop them, or I just time it poorly and get attacked. See, that time, one of them, or two of them got through without the light attacking them, so I finally realized, hey, let's just hang back and let them attack, and when they're done spinning, then we'll finish them off. But we get the other three without getting attacked by the crossbows, and we continue on our journey. Again, there's a couple of things in this hallway. We almost get caught by these axes, and I hate this. The perception of the room makes avoiding those axes difficult. Now, thankfully, you don't need precise timing. They're timed very slowly, so it's not a big deal. But I thought that was a doorway too, and maybe it is eventually, but not now. But of course we have to suck up all the tapestries. And we actually unlock another challenge by doing this. We discover something down the hall here. Dark light, there we go. There you go, we found the royal coffers. I was expecting a lot more, to be honest. We do get a gem out of it. And I'm assuming, as I mentioned in like part 1, I wasn't sure what the gems are. I'm pretty sure the gems that we pick up are related to whatever floor we are on. That's why they tend to be themed around whatever floor you are on. So we made it through, back around to the arena here, and our Gimli starved redhead. It looks like his beard might be red, so maybe it's not Gimli. One of the Lord of the Rings dwarves that starved and died is here to kill us. I want to say I actually fought this boss when my fiance was going through the game, because she was struggling with it, and she handed me the controller, and I had no idea what to do. I hadn't played the game at all, so it takes me a second to figure out what to do. Unfortunately, I don't like how much trial and error is involved, but sometimes that has to be the case. And eventually we figure out that he has a weakness, like all the bosses do. You do see the target on his armor when things start, so. But I try to do everything that keeps me out of harm's way. Like, I know I can try to suck on the shield when he runs towards me, or I can try to shine the light, but I'm likely to take damage if I'm wrong. So I try to do things that will avoid damage. And then, of course, you get the light, you hit the target with the suction shot, and then you smash him around a bit. And rule of 3, again, you do that 2 more times, and then it breaks his armor, and he is a piece of cake once his armor breaks. And honestly, he's kind of a piece of cake overall. I was kind of hoping I didn't have to wait for the charge, but I think you have to wait for him to do that. And raise his, I don't know what that's called. I'm not gonna try to say I do. I didn't like this. I actually don't get damage on him here because the game doesn't let me target him until he's about to stand up, and then it's too late for me to get the suction shot in the right spot. Again, perspective of the camera. Is that a lance? Would that be what that's called? When he sticks his lance up in the air and it shines, then you know he's getting ready to do his charge, and you can charge up your beam to stun him. I do recommend, if you play this game, trying to get him to run down the screen so that you have a better angle with the suction shot to stick to it. And I'm gonna see if I can turn off the motion controls in this game, because they've caused me more frustration than helped. So, but there we go. We got one more. I was very upset at the arrows that they fire out from because to that point they had basically were heat seeking, not entirely, but they were always in my general direction, and I thought it would be the same, and that's why I got hit, because I was expecting them to go where I was. So this is simple. Once his armor breaks, you just need to get away from him. He does this spin that only goes about 1/3 of the way across the map, and then you can stun him and pound him into the ground and repeat the process. There's really nothing else to go on here. Just let him catch up to you, run away, and the spin will die, and you can blast him really easy, honestly. Much easier than the piano dude, if we're being honest. Oh, and then this. This actually had some personality. He uses his short sword to try to keep himself from being sucked in. The pianist did something too that I thought had good personality for the ghost. And I can't remember what it was now off the top of my head, sadly. But the game has improved in that regard. The ghosts have done a better job of getting a personality across through their occupation as they are being sucked in. So that's something that I appreciate. We got about 2 minutes here. All we really do is head back to the elevator and plug in the new button, and then I go to the new floor, wait for the autosave notification, and that's the end of our playthrough. I didn't go to that chest, did I? Wow. I was so ready to be done that I just skipped it. But so I, again, have to apologize. I have apologized not only for the lost footage, but my yawning and voice cracking and everything that happened throughout this playthrough. I want to promise to be better, but the lost footage wasn't my fault. I'm sorry. I thought it was recording. It told me it was recording, and then it was not recording. So hopefully that won't happen again. If it does, I will consider going through the game again, so we have another full playthrough of things, because that is very unfortunate. Or I have to look into different recording methods, and that might be something we do anyways, because I have been playing quite a few games lately that don't allow you to mix the voiceover audio and the game audio very well. But there you go. We got our floor 7 button. We're about halfway through, it appears. Not quite. I think we got one more floor before we're halfway through, but it really depends on the content of the last floors too, as to whether we're actually halfway through the game. So that's all I got for you on this playthrough, or this instance and episode of the playthrough. Again, I apologize for the lost footage. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to ask me down below. Any of the contact information, like, subscribe, share, check the website out, legwalkthroughs.com. But if you don't have any questions or comments, I will see you guys in the next part of our Luigi's Mansion 3 playthrough.